Everybody, I hate to break it to you, but I must break this to you. Keep it very, very, very simple. Listen up, really, really closely. Your feelings are worthless. The data is everything. Your feelings don't matter when it comes to the stuff that we talk about here. It doesn't matter how you feel, it doesn't matter what you think. It matters about the data. And I know it feels like home prices aren't going down. I know it feels like, you know, this thing is never slowing down. It probably feels like people like myself, probably feels like we don't know what we're talking about. But that's just not what matters when it comes to the housing market, folks. You got to get out your feelings because they get you every single time when it comes to your feelings. See, that's what they want you to feel. They want you to feel like stuff like this. It's $300,000 to live in a tiny box like this. There's only two types of people that really should be living in boxes. As a prisoner, and if you're a turtle. And I don't know if we got any or many of those watching the channel here. If you are one, shout out to you. But they always want you to feeling. They always want you to feel a certain type of way when it comes to this housing market. And that's what they're banking on. The realtors, the mortgage loan officers, your family, your wife, your husband, whoever, they get you caught up in this feeling about doing something. And then at the end of the day, what happens, right? What happens when you follow your feelings on certain type of things? Well, oftentimes you end up in a situation that you probably shouldn't have been in the first place. Getting emotional is never the best thing to do when you're making a huge decision. Look at things like, I don't know, engagement rings, right? Diamonds are forever. Remember that? Some people, if you're married, you're being caught up in that as well. And they've got boardrooms and departments of people filled with all different types of professionals with decades of experience meant to tug on your heartstrings to make you do exactly what they want you to do. At the end of the day, sometimes you're, better at being able to escape that, and sometimes you're not, right? But they've got more experience than you. They've been doing this longer than you, and guess what? You're going to fall victim to it. Now, they're expecting you to be stupid, right? They're expecting you to not be able to navigate the data to figure out what is the best thing to do, what is the smartest thing to do. What they're not expecting you to do is to be part of a community just like this, to where you get exposed to the true data, the true facts, so you can make a decision based on, the truth, and be able to be in a better position for yourself and your family. But before we get into that anymore, you know what time it is. Drop the track. Welcome back to the channel, folks. Market Genius checking in once again. Hey, I hope that you've liked and subscribed to this channel, to this network, to this group of people who are geniuses, because we're not going to be strung by realtors, mortgage loan officers, and the bankers to take our money. We're going to do everything that we do here based on data, based on the truth, and based on doing what's best for our family. So if you want to be part of a community, right, check through some of the comments. Great people here, great Americans here, thinking for themselves, doing what's best. If you want to be a part of that, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe, because this channel is one of the fastest growing channels on YouTube, as well as this channel is going to be a place of refuge from the mainstream media, from the people who are going to be constantly beating the drum, trying to get your money out of your pocket and into theirs. Because, see, here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, especially those who aren't investors or traders. See, this game, this American game or American experiment, It's all about taking advantage of the little guy and letting the money go to the bigs. The bigs are getting bigger, and the average person is just getting poorer just because of the way that this game is set up. Let me tell you a story about one of my clients and how they pretty much screwed them over and took money out of their pockets, okay, just so the bigs can get bigger. So I had a couple. We're looking for a brand new house, right? We're looking for a nice, brand new house in a good community. These people, they had just gotten married, right? The funny thing is they actually met online, which is, kind of it's a common thing these days, but, you know, some people vote against it. I don't know if it was on Tinder or Plenty of Fish or whichever one of these apps, right? So they get together and they decide, you know what? We're gonna buy a house. We're gonna buy a house, we're gonna find a great realtor. Obviously, they end up with me. So we go looking for houses, looking at a bunch of different areas. And I say, you know what? There's a nice area south of Atlanta. It's right by a Tanger outlet, tons of restaurants close by. You've got shopping close by. You've got some really great things going on in the area. Nice school district, the whole nine. So I actually get them to come on down and take a look. Now, the neighborhood that we're looking at is coming to closing out. Right? They're getting down to the last couple of houses. So I call the agent and I'm like, hey, my clients, they really love the area. I really think that we're going to put in an offer. Beautiful home. Beautiful home, great price, right at their budget max. So right at about how much they're qualified for in total. But we're able to get them in under that, right? And if you've ever bought a house, you know how playing that game of, we're almost at the top of our budget. You know how it works, right? So we get them under contract, right? By the way, are there anybody who works in the electric field, right? Is it safe to live by these electric power stations, right? These large electric lines? I don't know. Comment below, let me know, is it safe to live by there? Because it just seems like, it just doesn't feel like a good idea. But what do I know? So we get the property under contract, and we get through due diligence and everything. And a couple of months later, I actually get a call from the builder. And this is what they said. They said, hey, Mark, I know you've got your clients under contract here, but we're going to be changing the price. First of all, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean that we're changing the price? And I'm like, you know what? I'm an open-minded guy. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe my clients are going to get a discount. Maybe the price is going to actually go down, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what is the price changing to? Guys and gals, got to be politically correct, right? Don't want anybody to, mark down my channel or anything right there, right? They say that due to material shortages, that my client's home is now going to go up $30,000. So they say, you know what? Yeah, your client can still get the home. It's just going to be $30,000 more. Now, remember, I told you that because of their pre-qual, right, it's a brand new home, we thought we hit a home run. And here come the big guys. Here come the bankers. Here come the people that are dead set on taking everything they can from you, taking everything they can from my client. Fast forward a couple of years, I don't know if they've purchased a home yet, but I do know that home that they would have purchased probably would have had a couple of $100,000 worth of equity in there already, and they stripped it away from them. Isn't that amazing? So, moral of the story, they're coming after it, folks. They're coming after everything that you work hard for, and they definitely are coming after for this thing that they call the American dream. Now, when it comes to buying a home today, my position is, as a realtor, as a professional, as somebody who's been doing this for over 6.5 years, my position is you should not be buying a home right now unless the data lines up in your favor. What does that mean for you? Go ask your realtor who's your friend or somebody who works at the grocery store and does it on the side. 'Cause I don't give out free information. If you want to get some information from me, hire me as your realtor and then we can talk, all right? But I will at least tell you that if you want to buy a house, don't do it unless the data lines up for what you're trying to do. Now, let's get into the data about what's really going on in the housing market. The stuff that the mainstream media isn't going to tell you. They're not going to write in their articles, and they're definitely not going to tell you on television. All right? First things first. Now, when it comes to existing home sales, I get it. The new communities, they can do a whole bunch of stuff. They can buy down your rates. They can play with the numbers to make sure that you can afford it on a monthly basis. But when it comes to existing home sales, they are down over 40% compared to 2 years ago. 40%. Use your mind, folks. Supply and demand. If the housing market's so hot, why are sales down over 40%? Gosh, that's almost half. It's almost half as many homes are selling now compared to 2 years ago. So, that's one piece of data that they're not going to tell you about in the mainstream media. But here's the other side. People always tell me, hey, home prices, they're not going down. Well, according to the National Association of Realtors chart, if we're looking at median home sales prices, folks, we have a double top on that side of things. And if you don't understand what a double top means, it basically just means that a price has hit two peaks, fell to a valley in the middle, and came back to the second peak, all right? Now, usually in investing, a double top is indicative of a reversal in the direction of the prices. Or at the very minimum, it could mean a ceiling, a lid. And so they don't want you to think that home prices are coming down, but the data says otherwise. The data says that they're no longer going up or that they've already reached their max. So you can do what you want to do with that. Just another data point. Just another data point. On top of that, the economy is completely falling apart. It doesn't feel like it. You see your next door neighbor buying a big screen TV. You see the NFL stadiums are packed. But it is. The economy is completely falling apart. There's a couple of analysts here and there that are talking about it. A couple of analysts here and there that are discussing it. A couple of people writing articles about it, right? But those are the outliers. Everyone else, all the numbers that come out, they're all good. Well, newsflash, they can revise those numbers. They can do a lot of crazy things with those numbers, just like they do with the CPI, Consumer Price Index. For those of you who are unaware, right? Just like inflation and all that stuff. They can do a lot of things with those numbers. And that is exactly what they've been doing. Whether you know it or not, the economy is completely falling apart. Look at all the stores closing. You've got some of the biggest retailers that you never thought would be closing, actually closing down stores. You got Target, you got Walmart, you got places like David's Bridal. It's been around forever, and they're closing down. On top of that, look at the theft, look at the crime. We have societal decay everywhere. And lastly, the consumer is completely walking towards a cliff, right? Credit card debt just hit over $1 trillion again, right? People are racking up credit card debt like crazy. You've got the repossessions going crazy. I love those videos, by the way. My heart goes out to anybody who finds themselves in a situation unnecessarily at that, to be able to have to get their vehicle taken. But I love those videos. I mean, come on, when that guy hits that little button, that's kind of like the sound that's going off in the background right there. It's like curtains closed, baby. It is over for you. You're gonna have to go and get your car back from that lot. But repossessions are, creeping up again. And lastly, you know, it's reported that we're headed towards a housing recession like the 1980s. As you all can see, I'm a young child, not that young, 35. But seriously though, like I wasn't around in the 1980s, but I am around now. What I can tell you is that if you think that your feelings are gonna bail you out of this, you're absolutely out of your mind. It's time for us to get together and figure out what's going on. I know what I'm doing. I've got plenty of data points of when I'm going to be buying a house. If you're so curious, just ask me. I have plenty of data points that I'll share with all of my geniuses, all of my subscribers on when I'm personally getting ready to buy a house. I did it before, made a couple $100,000. Do it again, right with me. You're gonna make a couple of $100,000 too. That's my word. But what do you think? Feelings over data or data over feelings? Peace.